Hey everyone, this is Arjun Badola, and you're listening to the School of Worldly Wisdom, where I share my insights on investing, self improvement, and startups. For more info, visit arjunbadola.com. Before we start our today's topic, I would like to make some clarifications regarding my previous content. So, I want to say that social media is not bad at all. It is just difficult to tame. So let me make this clear that I have nothing against people who use social media. It's just up to you if you want to use it or not. I personally got really addicted to it and hence decided to not use it, except Twitter. So the final decision is yours. If you think the use of it is not affecting your performance towards your purpose or your goal, then cool, use it. But it's not just about your performance or following your purpose. It's also about the happiness you get. So it could be that if you leave social media, you will face an emotional, you would be stressed out emotionally. So maybe leaving social media is not for you, and you shouldn't, because at the end of the day, all we need is happiness. And if social media, using social media, you're able to achieve that, then that's good. Then I think you should be on social media. Therefore, for a fair discussion, today's topic will be benefits of social media. And I personally use Twitter a lot, so it will be much more focused towards Twitter. So let's get right into it. The first benefit, according to me, is that you have the option of knowing what your friends are up to. So I think it's important to know what your friends are doing, because if you're not updated with what your friends are actually up to, there's high chances that you will be secluded from the group, and nobody wants that. It's difficult to make friends, and once you have made some good friends, I think sticking with the group is what one should do. So this is one of the benefit which social media provides you with. When you meet them, you have something to talk about. Or let's rephrase that. When you meet someone, you know what they're up to, and you can discuss ideas on what they have been working or what you have been working, as you might have shared something on social media. So it's very important to be connected with your friends on social media, as there are many things which you don't talk about but generally share on social media. So that could invite some fruitful discussion from your friends or anybody. The second point, which I think, is that majority of people are on social media, so it could help you connect with more people. So personally for me, the best thing was joining the Twitter, and through Twitter I met a lot of people. I was exposed to many platforms where I had fruitful discussions, and I also made some good friends whom I could read books together, or I could say I could discuss companies together. So the experience was really good. Likewise, same could be done in Instagram. As more people will be there, I think it would be a better platform to attract more people towards your mindset. By making an Instagram handle, or I could say an Instagram page, where you share posts about your hobby, you would slowly attract people of similar interest. And this is the place where you would use the algorithm of Instagram towards your favor. As for example, if you share something related to fitness, it will show to the people who are interested in fitness industry. I used to do that. Earlier I had Instagram handle where I used to post about fitness, and I was really into that. But now my hobbies have changed, so I had to close it. But few years ago I was on Instagram, and that really benefited me, because I made friends who were also into fitness and calisthenics, or you could say gymming. So this is a very good way of using the algorithm in your favor. Now the third point, which I would say, is the opportunities. I think you can also use Instagram as a portfolio website. Like for example, you might have seen that people have handles where they only post about their hobbies, that is photography or acting. They post short videos or whatever. So like I said, it would attract similar people. It could also attract opportunities for you. Like I've read many stories that some people have got opportunity through Instagram DMs, where some music director or producer have seen their video and they liked it, and now they contacted them to make join their team or do or work for them. So it can attract n number of opportunities for you. Now the fourth point which I would like to mention is that if you're say like I was saying, if you're having a portfolio website or you have a startup which you were running and you want to advertise for making yourself a brand or for your startup, social media is the best way to do. It requires some learnable skills with no extra cost. Even the big companies are going this way these days. They are trying to cut down their cost and going through the social media advertising, which is much cheaper than the traditional one. So these are the 4 points which I think are highly beneficial for social media. Now talking further about the benefits, I would be using Twitter as an example, as I have much more experience there. Okay, so why I use Twitter? So basically why I use Twitter or why I like Twitter is basically because it's all about your thoughts. People will follow you based on what your thoughts are, or I could say the tweets are. And the only way to attract people there is, like, you can upload videos and photos, but the main content is basically about tweets or the writing stuff. The sad part is that you are only restricted to 240 characters, but you can always do a tweet storm, as they say, or a Twitter thread where you can write more than 280 characters. Second part which I like about Twitter is that the sharing of content. When you follow people whom you admire, they always give out some suggestions on their Twitter handle, like some book recommendations, blog post, or some podcast channel. Do write them down and check it out because it will be really useful. I myself have been doing that for a long time. So the third point which I want to talk about is connecting with your idols. It's not just that you are following and you're consuming their content. Sometimes it also becomes a conversation. For example, it has happened with me that I had written an article on ITC, and D. Muthukrishnan, who's an investor quite famous in the investing world, he had reshared my post and had given me comments that he quite liked it. Similarly happened with few others like Ashwini Davani. Professor Sanjay Bakshi had shared my Warren Buffett partnership notes. And there's one more person I like. His name is Meet Shah. So I interact with these people and I really enjoy talking to them. It's not like a conversation thing, but I do get the remarks sometimes. So getting the remarks is quite good. You can also make Twitter as your journal. Like, I would like to quote Naval, as he said during his podcast with Joe Rogan, that there are gaps in your thinking because you're being kind to yourself. When you write it down, those gaps which are there in your thinking are filled up. So when you write it down, you have to fill those gaps. That is what forces you to think properly. So when you write it down, your idea comes out much better than it actually was inside your mind. Second would be revisiting your journey. When you tweet, for example, you have been tweeting for 1 year, then when you go back, you will realize that, okay, what were the mistakes you made in the initial stage and how has your journey been? Another point would be that, especially in investing, I would recommend, if you are into investing, then you should definitely be on Twitter. When you share your opinion on some companies or your analysis, you would receive criticism from rational or irrational, both of them. You will receive criticism from rational and irrational people. That will really help you in building up your conviction. If you want to take it to a next level, you could also share your portfolio. But then you must also remember that sometimes it becomes difficult to hold your stocks for long term when it's out there in public, because even a slight change in fundamental or a noise, or I would say, or some unnecessary news which is out there in the media, people will try pointing you out and will ask for your opinion. And sometimes just leaving it there is the better way out. So holding stocks for long term could be dangerous if your portfolio is on Twitter. So I'm still trying out. I sometimes share what I'm holding, but I'm still not sure whether I should share my portfolio or not. Currently it's there on social media, but I'm not sure whether I'll be keeping it or not. So whatever I have talked so far is based on Twitter, but I think it can also be applied on other platforms, like sharing your content for receiving criticism can be done anywhere. You have an Instagram where there are comments. You have Facebook. You have comment section in Facebook and Instagram where you can receive that. So I think you can share your content anywhere. I have a friend who shares his full blog post on Instagram by clicking screenshots. So that's a good way for sharing your content, because I think most people will be lazy to go and check your blog out. So you need to make it much more convenient for people to come and check out your blog post. So I think that was a really good idea to take a screenshot and share if the audience you want to attract is on Instagram. Now I will be sharing some tips for using Twitter, but I think these tips could be applied across all platforms. So the first one, I would say that you must choose carefully to whom you follow, either on Twitter or anywhere, because like we say, garbage in, garbage out. So if your Twitter feed is going to be filled with some content that you don't like, or you know that is not good for you, or will be distracting you, then you must unfollow that person. Never hesitate in doing that. If you think that it's not going to be useful, just unfollow. Don't take it personally. Likewise, don't hesitate in blocking people. If you think this person adds no value to your life and is actually taking away your mental peace, just block them. You have to use Twitter as your knowledge of temple, and don't let anyone else come inside and ruin it. So if you think someone is not adding value to it and is disturbing the peace of your temple, remove them. Third point, I would say always use an ad blocker, because we all know it's a corporate there and they want to earn money and they'll be showing ads to you. So to avoid that ad, I know you can't avoid the 100% of it, but at least 90% or 80% would be avoided. So always use an ad blocker when you're using any social media platform. Fourth one would be never use an application. That is, never use a Twitter app or Instagram app or Facebook app. Then you will be welcomed with lots of notification, constant flow of information, and you will be addicted to constantly opening the app and refreshing so that you get new content and get new hit of dopamine. So never use the app. Never make it so easy to go and check out what's the new information out there. Fifth one, I would say always provide value. If you're making a social media handle, you must always focus on creating value for others. For example, I follow Shravan Venkataraman, who mentioned that you don't need to be original. You don't have to be creative. If you can compress your learnings from a book or a long video or a lecture, anything, into a readable thread on Twitter, then you save time for people, and that's a win. Like I would say, what I did was I read the letters of Warren Buffett's partnership, and I made it into a thread and I shared it across, and many people liked it. So this is one of the way you could add value to people's life, making some content which you think will be useful for people. Sharing traveling photos could also be useful. Maybe you're exploring a place and people will come to know whether to visit that place or not. So it can be anything. Creating value could be in anything. You could share a review of a product. It could be anything. So, but you must remember, at least sometimes you must share something valuable that would add value into people's life. Now to summarize, I would only say that using social media is not bad at all if one can tame it. It provides you with the ability to connect with your friends. People of similar interest now also open the world of opportunity to you. It provides you with the ability to connect with your friends, people of similar interest, and also opens the world of opportunity to you. Therefore, I would say one must check what really matters to them and decide accordingly.